Good evening, fans, and welcome to Cobras Corner. We're back again here to talk about the upcoming 2020 season. I'm here again with Coach Josh Resignalo. Coach, welcome back.
Thanks, man. I'm glad to be here.
Yes, sir. We got some exciting things to talk about today, especially the start of the season, getting back to football amidst all of this coronavirus that we're battling as a country, as a world. But so exciting to see that the NAL is going to play their season and hopefully coming up soon. Coach, what can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so, they put out a statement, the league, about, our target date is June 13th weekend. And as long as everything kind of stays in line of what the way things are now, I see that as pretty realistic. It's just a matter of what kind of restrictions will be in place at that time. And you talk about, are you going to start games with no fans, and, how it's all going to come about. There's a lot of uncertainty still of what's going to be allowed, and we can make a plan all we want to, but it's going to come down to the individual cities and the arenas and what each governor of the state, puts out there as far as restrictions accordingly. So it's tough. It's still a waiting game, but we're getting closer. I can't wait till we're doing these on a weekly basis versus, a couple of weeks in between.
Right.
So,
and talking about it, it's got to be tough. Right now we should be well into the season. But here we are still waiting for this. So tell me a little bit about what you've been doing, kind of biding your time, getting ready for the season to start.
It's tough. On a personal side, off the football field, it's an opportunity to spend more time with the family. Yeah. Especially with everything the way it is, everyone's at home. So from that aspect, you just try to watching film and trying to stay on top of stuff and getting playbooks together on the offensive, defensive side. We'll start getting those out to the players here pretty soon. We're just trying to prepare, like we normally would. I say normally, I don't think there's going to be any kind of normalcy of any sorts, going forward of how it used to be. But from a film standpoint, we're working on getting all the players set up on our film with VidSwap. That's our editing system where guys are able to, we're able to edit the film and break down stuff, and everyone has their own login information. They can go on and check film out, watch past games, which is really going to be more so of going back and looking at some of the teams we're going to play, because there's a lot of similar teams and coaches from last year. A lot of different players, but for the most part, you got your core groups of guys, for each team. So you can prepare from it the most you can from watching film.
Yeah. So, how are your kids? You got a couple of children at home with you?
Yep, I got my daughter's 15. She's in 8th grade. She's getting ready to go to high school, which makes me seem old. So my son, he's about to turn 8 years old. Coming up in May. So he's in the 2nd grade, going on 3rd grade, and so having them at home, luckily for me, I have a day job, so I haven't been at home that much. So what I've learned about the whole process is, my wife is like Superwoman. So, she does hair and she sings, and unfortunately both things that she does are on hold right now. Right. So she's a lead singer for the Catalinas, which is a famous beach music group. Okay. And she does hair for a living. So, unfortunately those are two main things that aren't happening right now. So she's playing teacher, homeschool, and I got to give her a lot of props. So I know I couldn't have the patience to be able to. I'm not a teacher for a reason. So
so she's the glue that's holding that family together right now.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Big shout out to her, and keep up the good work. Tell me a little bit about you, what you've learned about you as a coach in preparing for other teams this upcoming season.
The biggest thing that's helped me be successful through the years is the self-evaluation. Not so much of scouting to other teams and breaking down stuff, but also self-evaluating yourself to see when you make certain calls in certain moments. And I've been able to go back in some of my past years of, because I've coached offense and defense. So to be able to kind of see what leads you to make certain decisions in certain situations and kind of prepare you and kind of mold yourself into that for, going forward. And then looking at some of the other stuff, the game planning, we're big on game planning. The guys will have a scout sheet every week for, what we're looking for and what we're trying to accomplish and execute. And, the biggest thing is always try to take away the best things that the other opponent tries to do and try to force them to do something different. That's what they're trying to do to us. So we try to make adjustments on ourselves. So it's a big chess game, and that's why I love coaching. It's the players are out there between the lines fighting it out, and it's almost like we're the generals on the side, and we're orchestrating everything, and the players are making it happen.
If you had to give yourself a grade, how would you score yourself as a coach and your team, your defensive team from last year?
Overall, I think for my success from last year, I think I'd give myself maybe a B, and I'm probably my worst critic. So I think I would grade myself, the most aggressive out of someone else, on the outside looking in. I just feel that if I would have take a stand a little bit sooner, things could have been adjusted a little bit, because we still lost 4 or 5 games, at the end of the day. Most of the time we had really one really bad game that I can think of on the defensive side. When Orlando came to Greensboro, that was tough. I think that was a lot of overlooking the opponent, because at that time Orlando was struggling and they weren't doing too well. But it just goes to show that anyone can win at any moment. And there was times in that game where I felt that I could have done some things a little bit different and put the foot down a little sooner on some stuff. And but that game was a turning moment for us. Going forward, things changed. Light switch came on, and you got to have some bad moments to go in a good direction.
Yeah. Something I find interesting with coaches who go from the coordinator ranks to the head coach, a lot of times it's a matter of being able to delegate. Are you prepared to give that defense to someone else and kind of manage the entire program as opposed to the one side of the ball?
Yeah, and I am. Anson, Coach Yarborough, has played for me for quite a few years, so I have that trust, with him, and he's aggressive, and he's a ball player, and he enjoys the game, he loves it. He's a very good. He prepares just as much, as a player, and had his chance, to lead a team in a different league at the start of the season. Took him all the way to the playoffs for his first year. So he understands the game, and what's especially he understands what I'm expecting, and we set the bar pretty high last year with the defense, but I think he's going to exceed that, and I'm kind of biased for how we were last year on the defensive side, but he's going to end up doing a better job than we did last year, which is only great for the team. Yeah. So from an overall delegating, the biggest thing for me is bringing on people that I'm familiar with and that I have a trust factor with, because it is a business. It's a cutthroat business. Players get upset when different guys come in and go, but the same thing with coaches. Yeah. You got to have a good staff around you, and just like any leader, you're going to be as successful as the group around you. And I always find it important to surround yourself with good people and to be able to help get the job done.
You talked a little bit about the planning stage, because you're still in that stage right now. I don't think you finalized your roster yet, so you still have opportunity to bring on some good talent.
Yep. So we're pretty close to we're full right now, but we're constantly upgrading positions. Specifically the pool of players that are out there now are abundant. So with the IFL canceling their season until 2021, they're focusing on 2021 right now, which is it's tough to make that decision. Everyone's got their own different viewpoints on everything. So, but all those players are going to be looking for somewhere to play right now. So all the teams, not just the Cobras, but you got the Sharks and the Pirates and everyone that's got the same access to the players. So everyone's, trying to position themselves to be able to get the best guy. And, people ask, well, what position are you looking for? We're always looking for the best guy, right, to fill the best position. So, if you're better than what we have, we're going to bring you on. It's a business. So if you're better than what we have, we're going to sign you and give you the opportunity, and we make it happen.
That's right. I like that. I know as a former player, that was the thing. You had to be the best, and you couldn't just go on reputation. You had to prove it every year, every play. And I'm sure the guys understand that.
Oh, absolutely. From the competition level in the NAL is, this year going into their 4th season is going to be the best, competition-wise, especially with the Arena Football League, folding. All those players are scrambling, trying to find. There was a lot of young football players in the AFL, and a lot of those guys were trying to find, homes. And we got about 4 or 5 guys from AFL teams that will be on our roster this year, so that's exciting. And then again, you got the other leagues that are, most likely all of them are going to be shut down, for 2021. So that's why the NAL has been adamant about, making sure whatever we got to do to make it happen.
Who do you see as some potential competition for you in the league this year?
Well, out the gate for us, Jacksonville is going to have a great roster. They're going to put a great product on the field. Coach Fuller's been doing this for a long time. I'm good friends with Coach Fuller, and he gets the most out of his players, and the players play for him, and it's a different atmosphere when you got players that are playing for the cause with their leadership and following that, and just buying into the process. And Coach Fuller does a great job of pulling the best out of his players, and he cares about them, and the players know that. There's a few coaches that are out there in the country, and like I said, Coach Fuller and I are good friends. But he's been doing this for a long time. So if I were to say I have any like mentors that I look up to, Coach Back, he's got a lot of history, and he's been doing it for a long time. Coach Fuller, guys like that have been successful, through the years. A lot of people don't know the history of Coach Fuller, where he played in the NFL. He coached in the AFL for a long time, played in the NFL. He's been good at his craft. And so when you got guys like that that are in the league, it just makes everything that much better. Yeah. So, and I talk a lot of good about them, but I also that's our biggest like competition for us. Yeah. I like to be on the field with them. It's a great atmosphere. Especially when you go to the Shark Tank. There's a lot of good fans there, and hopefully every city strives to have that type of atmosphere. On their game days, because it changes the game, and that's what the arena game is all about.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's nothing like playing in front of a great group of fans, and I think we've got that here at the Greensboro Coliseum. Can't wait to see everyone pack the Coliseum and get back to really good Cobras football. Now, Coach, we talked a lot about your coaching style and going from the coordinator ranks to the head coach, but you're also a player, former player. What do you miss about playing, being actually on the field competing?
I think what I miss the most is I'm an aggressive person, and I get into it, I get fired up. You only can do so much as a coach standing there on the side. So the moment of being a player, you're able to actually, put some, pressure out there and actually get involved and smack some heads around. And, that's a different aspect, from a player, from a coach. I think you can do more as a player. Players have a lot more power than they think they do, because they're the ones playing the game. So it's it's tough. I miss playing. I miss the sweating and doing all the hard stuff. When guys are running hard and doing different drills, like we've been there, done that. They're looking at you crazy. You're standing there on the side, blowing the whistle, and they're looking at you like you're just standing there blowing the whistle. Yeah, well, we did that too. So, but for me, I think I'm a little bit different mindset. Being a Marine. I like that action, so it's, I miss it. We played, we had some experience with that. So you kind of know, I'm a fiery person, but I like to lead, but I also try to lead by example. I'm not just going to bark at someone to do something, and I try to coach that way too.
Yeah, playing with you, I remember a guy who was really fired up in the huddle and always aggressive. I remember something, tell me if I'm getting this right, something about if he's even, you're leaving, or something like that. What does that mean?
Yeah, if he's even, he's leaving. So we had some good receivers. So when you get off the line of scrimmage, if we're even, we know right now we're throwing it up there and we're going to get it. So you don't, that's just a thing to the receivers, man. You got guys that want to go make some plays, and I was fortunate, I played quarterback, so I've always had good guys around me and just, throw it to them, let them go make a play. I wasn't always like the best athlete, but I know the game. So I knew where to put the ball and how to get guys in position, and the whole no look thing. That's not just a Mahomes type thing. There's other people that do that too. So
that's the aggression of a quarterback, and as an offensive lineman, we love that. We love to have a quarterback who's going to be as aggressive and get after it as much as a lineman would. So I definitely appreciated that as a teammate. Let's talk a little bit about our team this year. Who are you looking for really good production out of on the 2020 roster?
So where we're at right now, our wide receiver position and our secondary position is pretty stacked. We got a lot of great talent, a lot of good experience. So I'm excited to see how that shapes out. Our quarterback position, we got 3 really good guys, in camp. Any one of them could be a starter on anyone's team in the league. So that's pretty special to have that. It makes it harder for us, in the war room of figuring out who we're going to choose and we're going to pick to lead the organization. Right. And, that's tough. So it's, one of them for sure is going to have to go, because we're not going to carry 3 quarterbacks, on the final roster. Most teams carry 2 on the 21-man roster, because the arena game is about the quarterback play, and if the quarterback goes down and you only got 1, you're screwed. It's tough. You don't. Everyone don't have a Jolly that could step in and just know the offense so well and help and do what they need to do to get through the game. Not everybody has that. So Jolly is a great athlete. He's not a quarterback, but he gets the job done because he understands the game and knows what to do. And there isn't very many of those guys that can just step in and do that. Yeah. So that's tough. Up front, you being an offensive lineman type guy, so it's you have respect for those guys and defensive line, and if you can't protect and get after them, then it doesn't matter what you got running around out there. So I always go by protect ours, get after theirs. So if we can protect our quarterback and get after theirs, you have a lot of success, and that's what we try to do.
All right. We've got one of those outstanding players here with us today, and we'll talk to him in just a bit. James Summers is here, and we're going to discuss a little bit about the upcoming season and how he plans to fit in with the Cobras.
Hi, I'm Seth Tucker. I'm here with quarterback of the Carolina Cobras, James Summers, and we're here today just to get to know you a little bit better. So tell us about what you've thought about last season.
Last season was pretty good. There was a lot going on, moving from different positions, because I usually play running back. Before that was quarterback. So being receiver, take a little more wind. Had to get used to that. Literally learned the game from a whole different angle. Never really seen the field from a receiver view, and I think that'll help me out a lot.
Some people think about you like a Swiss Army knife, kind of like a Taysom Hill from the Saints. What's your favorite position to play? You've played a lot of different.
My favorite position to play would have to be quarterback, because I'm in control of the game. When it comes down to it, I want to have the ball in my hands. I'm not afraid to use my teammates. I trust my teammates. So I feel like the quarterback position would be best for me, because I know how the game works. You know what I mean? I know how important everyone is on the team. So I feel like that's my favorite position, because I can show how much I mean to the team. But as far as like fun-wise, I had to say running back. You just get the ball running. So it's like the funnest thing to do to me, because I love to run the ball. So that would be the funnest, but quarterback's definitely my favorite.
If you didn't know this, James Summers played quarterback at local Page High School, and then he went on to play at ECU for a little while. Tell us about your time at ECU. What was that like?
Time at ECU, man, it was bittersweet because it was short. I was only there for 2 years. Got to know my coach. Came in, I was at like 208. I was supposed to play receiver. 3 days before the season, the quarterback goes down with a torn ACL, and right then and there, I had to gain like 10 to 15 pounds. Had to learn the playbook, because I got into school 3 days before school actually started, because I was waiting on my grades to come in, and so that was a bit of a crazy 4 weeks for me. But once it slowed down, after that Virginia Tech game, it became quite humbling, man. ECU was great to me. Coach Ruffin, he was awesome. He was the biggest father figure I ever had in my life. So I would have to say ECU changed my life. So
you mentioned that big Virginia Tech game. Walk us through that. What was that like for you?
I just got into school maybe 3 or 4 days before the school actually started. So coach was trying to reserve me for the first 2 games. He actually threw me in the second game against Florida. I completed a pass that game, but just didn't know much of the offense, so he just took me out so I wouldn't get hurt or anything. And the next following week, we played against Navy. We got whooped pretty bad. I just kind of went to him and was like, Coach, I can't, sit here and watch us lose. There's got to be something I can do to help. And he was like, I'm glad you came up here and said that, next game, it's going to be a game we're going to loot you. He's like, you won't start or anything, but, we're going to give you a chance. And I was like, once you put me in, I'm not coming back out. He's like, we'll see about that. So getting off that bus, man, everything I've ever been through that morning kind of flowed through my head. Dropped a couple of tears walking down the Pyre Walk. Very special moment. I could feel it in my body. And when I got in, I just wanted to execute, and that's what happened.
So what was the outcome of that game?
The final score of that game, I think, was 35-28. We won by a touchdown. I think I had 3 touchdowns. I ran 2. I threw 1. Actually did have 4. That's pretty bad on my end. Rushed for 169 yards that game. I threw for like 118.
Nice.
It was pouring raining. But I came in through the second quarter, and once he put me in, we didn't turn back.
So after that Virginia Tech game, what was it like for you on campus?
Well, everybody knew me then. I couldn't go anywhere without someone knowing me by the beard. That's what they call it, because that game was pretty nasty. Only thing everybody remembers is me taking my helmet off at the end and just yelling, and my beard is like covering my face. So everybody knew me from the beard from that day on, and teachers couldn't hide from anybody. So it was good, but then bad too sometimes. You know, sometimes you might be in class, you nodding off, you don't want to be, hey, beard, wake up, you know what I mean? So it was good and bad.
So now you're playing arena football. How's it been adjusting from 100-yard field to just half, 50, well, quarter of size, because it's not as wide either?
It's not the easiest thing to do because everything's much smaller, everything's much faster, but everything is more simplified. So I think that helps the game speed up. So it's very different from the aspect of the speed of the game, but it's not really different from a professional level because once you get on that level, I mean, I know the field's much wider and bigger, but they're moving just as fast and things are happening just as fast. So I think being on a professional level helped me out with that part of it, but it's definitely different from anything I've ever had to do.
You played for the Steelers and the Cardinals for a little while on their preseason squad. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, my first year with the Cardinals, pulled my hamstring. I didn't really even compete in pro day, so I didn't think I was going to get picked up at all. They ended up picking me up for like $1,500. I mean, just stealing me, you know what I mean? But no, it was a humbling experience. Once again, went in, fought my way through special teams, ended up showing my way on special teams, and he gave me the ball one day in practice, and then he put me in the game against Atlanta, rushed for like 95 yards in the touchdown, returned the kick that game for like 22 yards, didn't score or anything, but still another thing. I made my first special teams tackle that game, and ended up keeping me that year. Of course, David Johnson gets hurt. They had to bring back a veteran. That's why they had to let me go. Worked out for Pittsburgh maybe for like 15 minutes. Like 3 months after that, working out with Stephen Ridley. I don't know if anybody know who that is, but yeah, he's won a couple Super Bowls. And it's like me, I've never played the position. You have a guy who's a veteran, who's won Super Bowls, played this position. And, you know, I just kind of locked in that day and kind of embraced it. And it was like one of the best workouts I ever had. Didn't think I was going to get signed. They already told him they was going to sign him before we got back to the locker room. And then the GM came up to me and told me he was going to sign me to the Futures. Ended up going through that program, which is probably the most blessed experience I've ever had when it comes to football. First class place. Learned a lot of football there and met a lot of good people. So those two places, you know, it's just a part of my trial. And
So your journey in pro football has brought you back here to Greensboro. How do you feel about that?
I feel like every experience has helped me to this point. I feel like this experience will help me even more. Very happy to be with the Cobras because we have a great coach. And I think he will really bring the best out of players. And I think he'll bring the best out of me. Whether I'm playing quarterback, receiver, or if I'm just blocking every play, he will bring the best out of me. And I just want to help the team. So that's where I see myself at right now. As far as moving forward, I'm trying to get film. That's all I need. Because I feel like if I can get back in front of a coach or a team or whatever, just for a workout, I'll get that paper signed.
What makes Coach Resignalo such a good coach?
He can relate to us. You know, he's played the game for many years. He's a great guy, man. He's fair. That's the most thing about it, because I don't want to be playing with this guy because he's my great friend or whatever. I want to play with him because he can ball, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's going to give me his all every single time. And that's the type of guys he recruit. That's the type of guys he's going to play. And that's the type of coach I want to play for.
What were some of your favorite moments from last year?
One of my favorite moments was my first catch. I went through a lot when I left Pittsburgh, and that was just like a breath of fresh air, you know, finally touched the football again. Leading up to that point, it took me a while to get in the game. It might be like midway through the second quarter. I'm over there sweating, you know, my legs kind of getting cold. And I'm just like, all right, dude, like, you gonna play me or what? You know what I mean? And he was just like, call my name. And it was like one of those moments, you know, your teacher call your name, you sit up in the class, you don't know what to do. And he's like, come on. So I run out on the field, and the first play he called, give me a 9. It's just up the wall. And the guy was like 20 yards deep. I was like, yeah, just give me the ball now. You know, I was kind of looking at him. He threw me the ball, ran through one guy. He's pretty small, but the next two guys just kind of spin off one guy, and then he caught me from behind. maybe 2 yards out from the touchdown. I still scored the next play, but I wanted to score that play. So that was a huge moment in the championship game. Just that whole driving up with the team. I was off and on with the team. I didn't travel as much. I played a lot of home games because it was like later in the season when I had came back. So that was like the first like travel time I had with them, and man, it's a great group of guys and coaches, man. I loved it.
So how's your mindset going into this season different than last season?
This season, I will have to be more of a open guy. You know, I have to be more vocal. I have to actually run the team, help run the team, instead of being like last year learning the game. This year, it will be a challenge. I'm excited for it because I have a great teacher. This is what I love to do. I love to play ball. I love to show people. I love to prove people wrong in every aspect. And Coach Rez know that. And I think that's going to be a big part of this year. Studying, just knowing everything, every aspect of the game, trying to really be a student of the game. I think that's going to be the difference of my mindset last year. Last year, I was just trying to get on and play, just trying to get the ball. But this year, try to be a coach on the field, make it a little easier.
Do you think your family and friends from Greensboro, will they be coming out to any games this year?
Oh yeah, there'll probably be a lot of people there. They love me being back home, especially my family, my friends too. Some of my friends, you know, they went to college and they didn't get to see me play, or if I was too far away in Arizona or Pittsburgh. So for me to come back home and have all these people see me play, it's exciting, man. I think they are too.
Looking forward to see you playing later this year. How can we follow you on social media?
Well, fortunately, I don't have social media. Not really my thing that I like to do. I like to kind of stay out the way, focus on what I got going on. But you know, you can always come to a game, show up a few minutes early, 15, 20 minutes. If I have a time, you can come shake my hand, you know, throw the football around a little bit, have a little time with me.
Of course, after the game when there's autographs and such.
Yeah, of course that too. But you know, you want a little one-on-one time, I think, before a game. Show up a little early, toss a couple footballs with you.
That's it for this episode of the Cobras Corner. And as always, fear the fangs.